first thing you want to do is gather all of your materials. Today I'm going to be using a piece of canvas. It's pre-bought, wrapped in burlap. The paint even came on it. Got it at Hobby Lobby. Love Hobby Lobby. When you walk back to the paint section, you can find plain white canvas, burlap. They have just about anything you imagine. So we're going to be using that. And I use the Silhouette Cameo to cut out my stencil. I will be eventually selling these on Etsy. They'll be pretty much made to order, so you can put whatever you want on them. When you get those, you'll just cut these out and place them where you want. But you can use a stencil. You can, if you're good enough, you can hand draw it. I'm not a master of anything, remember, so I don't really draw. So I'll be using the stencil that I made on the Silhouette. Got my scissors to cut that out. For placement, I sometimes don't use pencil, pens, measuring tape. Those are if you want to use those. I got my paints, technically my mother's paints. I'm not really a painter, so these are hers. She told me to use a medium when mixing acrylic. Why? I don't know. If you want me to know, tell you, I will ask her. And then I have a sort of my paint brushes. These you really won't need if you have a Cricut or Silhouette, you know what those are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mix my paints. I had a request for a teal and purple, and I had a request for pink, but she doesn't have pink, so she said that was fine. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that together and get my colors on the plate, and be back in a second. Okay, I've already done the next step, and I got a little bit ahead of myself. I went ahead and mixed the colors that I had to make this teal color. We did dark green, royal blue, and white, and just kind of mixed it up so I got the color I wanted. A dark purple with a white, just to get a little bit of a violet. And then I went ahead and I cut out my stencil. And this is what I've done a couple times when I do canvas. When I'm doing it for me or my house, I really don't care if it's straight. So when you want it to be as precise as you possibly can get it, then go ahead and get your measuring tape out and put stick pins. You know, put your stencil down, look over it, pick it up if you need to, make sure you have it where you want it, and then line it up with the bottom of the word with the top of your measuring tape. So that, when I take this out to take the transfer tape off, it's going to leave this here as a guide. I'm not making marks on my canvas. I'm not making eraser marks. It's just going to look a whole lot better. So I had that, and I forgot to mention in my intro that you always want to clean your surface off with alcohol wipes. I had a friend tell me one time, she said, I can't get my vinyl to stick. And she was using a different machine with different vinyl, but I told her, I said, well, are you cleaning off your surfaces with alcohol first? And she said, no, I'm not. And I said, try that because it helps me. She did, and it's worked for her. So I heard that somewhere, and it really does work. So I have mixed the paints. I got this ready. I went ahead and cut out all of my little stencils and flowers and butterflies and whatnot. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause, and I'm going to get that laid out. And I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off, and I'm going to lay down my stencils. Now, I will do a video later on about how to lay these down without all the bubbles and everything in them. It's hard to do, especially by yourself. I'm going to have somebody film over me so I can do a overhead shot. I think that'll help those that need that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back. Okay, in this next section, I'm going to explain that I just laid the stencil down, the vinyl, and as I said, I'll do a video on that. And then I took my tool, and you can use this credit card, something that's got that edge that you're not gonna tear your vinyl, but yet it's rounded enough to where you're gonna get some pressure. And I just went around the edges and just pressed it down to make sure that paint's not gonna squeeze out through. Now, as you do it, just kind of pay attention to your stencil because vinyl can pop up. This material, since it's paint and whatnot, it's not going to be as well adhesed to it as it would be if it was plastic or metal. So Now, I know I said I'm going to leave my stencils out, but I decided that since I got so much black up here, I'm going to go ahead and paint this, and then I'm going to pull that off, let it dry, and then I'll put my stencils down. So we're going to go ahead, and I have more of the purple paint, and if I was doing this for a customer, I would do what they asked. I'm not going to do what I want, but since this is technically just for me and the video, then I'm going to go ahead and use the color that I have the least of, and my daughter and her friend and I decided that it would look better if the words were separated by colors. So we're going to do purple with the B, we're going to do the teal with the U, and then to full is going to be purple again. So I can always add extra purple. So when you go to paint, remember to A, keep your eye on the stencil, and also start in the middle and work your way out. So I'm just going to do a quick little bit here, but I'm going to stop with the U, and I'm going to want to fade it, so I'm not going to go all the way to where it connects to the T. I'm going to stop there. And same thing with the Y. I'm going to go ahead and paint this section.
Oh, it's cold in here.
And I have kids coming in, so I will pick up in just a moment. Okay, I've gone ahead and done the teal and started the purple, and so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to try to blend these, and again, I'm not a painter, so my paint's already actually starting to dry. I don't want it to look like it was cut off, is what I mean by blend. Now, when I did this on wood for my daughter in the example picture, maybe it was because of the wood or I laid acrylic down to begin with, but it blended a lot better. So it's not bad, it's just not exactly the way I wanted it. But, you know, it's like they say in machining, if something turns out perfect, you made a mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my beYOUtiful sign, and I'll be back right after I pull off the black stencil and it's had a little bit of time to dry, and I'll go ahead and lay down the other ones. See, I like that better. Just work with it. You know, don't ever just give up just because something doesn't turn out the way you want it the first time. You can always tweak it. You can always make it look better. So, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands, and I'm back with you in just a second. Okay, I've gone ahead and placed my stencils where I want them. I've taken the backing off, and the only one that I've taken the actual transfer paper off is the flower here in the corner. Now, when you're placing your extra stencils after you have your main one down, go ahead and just put them out and pick the one that says, I love you, and stick it. And then go about the rest of doing that the rest of the way. That way, you're not going to regret where you put something. You can't go back and change it. So, I'm going to go ahead and paint this one. Now, I'm going to add some, get a different plate. I'm going to add some paints. And I'm going to paint one color all the way around here. And then before I go to blend it, I'm going to try to blend it, I'm going to turn the camera back on. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finish it up and run low on time. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I want to go ahead and show you what I'm doing because the blending's working, yay! I'm going to go ahead and now I put, I don't know how, I use a fresh brush, my yellow, and I put in the middle at first, and I kind of just spread it out, and then, get a little down there, then come up, and I went down with the orange, and I'm going to go up with the yellow, so that way I get that blending effect. Now you might want to get some yellow on there. It's fresh. And just go up. Just very lightly feather it. And that's what you want to do to try to blend something. So, alright, I'm happy with that flower, so I'm going to do the rest and I'll show you the results in a minute. And now we're done. So I hope you enjoyed it, and remember to always be beautiful because we're all unique, and just make it your own, have fun with it, and see you soon.